Alexa, roll intro.
Okay.
Nice. Nice. So, funny story. We were completely separate, weren't talking to each other. When I found a funny TikTok, you found a funny TikTok, and we decided that we both wanted to share this funny TikTok with each other. And so we sent that funny TikTok to each other at the exact same time, not realizing that it was the same TikTok.
Yeah. And it's not like one of those things where occasionally you'll forget you're scrolling through sent TikToks and you'll reshare one. No, it was literally, we both found it and we're like, yeah. I get the notification, I go over and I'm like, but she didn't have time to watch said TikTok.
Yeah, and it was this TikTok. If we can share it, it's this TikTok.
It was like, but when I was in 8th grade, girls would fight. Before and after, boys would fight, but for some reason, 7th, 8th grade girls would fight. I didn't fight because I was told that there was no hitting, and I was reading. But one day, a smaller girl came up to me in 8th grade and said, hey, the burnout girls are going to beat me up after school. Will you come and stand next to me while it happens? And I thought, why would that be something? And she said, you wouldn't have to fight. It would just be for moral support. And I thought, well, that's probably what a friend in my book would do. So we went, and I'm standing next to this kid, and I'm reading, and I'm waiting for the fight to begin, and I'm reading, and I'm waiting for the fight to begin, and the fight never begins. And you know why the fight never begins? Because Spooky Reading Girl was there, creeping the hell out of everyone. I ruined 3 fights with this technique. 2 other girls were like, would you stand next to me while those kids think about beating?
It's funny because, like, we definitely grew up being the weird girls that just read everywhere. Especially, like, anytime we moved, books were the things that we would be doing. I know the first, like, year that we lived in Spain, I was always reading somewhere on campus. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we stopped any fights because of it, but...
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Colonel between the two. Roll that intro. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Deanna. And we're the Halfwit Sisters.
So welcome back.
Welcome back. Last episode, we actually took a break and played the game A Way Out, and we escaped prison.
Yep.
So that was fun. We're going to be playing that a little bit over the next couple of months. We're dedicating at least once a month, 1 week of gaming time, just to take a break.
Yeah.
And relax from having to, like, find something to do every single time.
Give us a nice little moment where you can just, like, join us. So if you have, like, questions that you want answered or topics that you want covered, make sure you leave them in the comments. But
things that don't normally fit into our 1 hour scheduled time. Did you ever finish the video about your setup?
If
she did,
I'm gonna re-record it because it ended up just me rambling for like 30 minutes.
If she did, here's another pop-up of the video. You can go click on that link. I have started doing every Wednesday. We're recording on Wednesday right now. There's a new one of my audiobooks that have come out. Every Wednesday, I'm releasing an audiobook that's related to a writing prompt that I found somewhere on the internet. This one's called An Eye for an Eye. It's a science fiction, trapped in space. You're a crew that has gotten onto a diplomat ship, and your crewmates have just told you that you killed a bodyguard, a human bodyguard, and you just informed them that it was a mate, that they had a mate, that you just killed their mate. So the whole prompt is like that. And I read through some of them, and a lot of people got like really depressing. I was just I was just like, no, I just decided to go a lot more like, I didn't get depressing. I was just like, here's what it is. You're an alien. So I couldn't write from the perspective of humans. I had to write from the perspective of the alien. And then I went one step further. I wrote an active present tense. So it was all a bit challenging in that regard. I tried not to be depressing, so it was much more of a thriller for me. I try to write kind of in a thriller this time around. So here's a pop-up for that. If you're interested in seeing that, again, it's called Eye for an Eye, and you can find that on my YouTube channel.
So this week we are reviewing, you're reviewing a multiple mediums of the same story.
Yes.
And I am going to review 2 movies. If we have time, definitely one of them, and if we still have time, I'll do the other one.
Okay. I just want to give you all a heads up. If I'm slow to respond to you, DJ, it is because right now I am in Texas in the grips of a snowstorm. So if I disappear or anything like that, it is because Texas is not at all prepared to be handling anything that has to do with snowstorms. And I'm not supposed to be even having this amount of lighting. Really? So just a heads up on that. We were supposed to be playing A Way Out this week. We had scheduled because you have an entire week off of work, and so we were supposed to play like several hours of A Way Out to get ahead of schedule, but we can't do it because even just me and my roommate, the wife, doing local gameplay because we bought the new Mario game, 3D World 3D Mario, bought that new game that came out. We couldn't play it because the lag was so bad. We just can't. So we're gonna have to figure something else out.
And you'll tell us all about that also next week, because next week we talk about current events, and that is definitely a current event. So we'll dive more into what's happening in Texas next week.
Yeah. So if I drop today during this call, that's the reason why. Okay. So do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Why don't I do one of my movies and then you go, and then if we still have time, I'll do the other one.
Okay.
So the first one I want to talk about is the Shadow in the Cloud. It came out last year. It's a horror action film, and I'm not usually into horror films, but I saw a TikTok of the trailer, and it was just like really cool. It just like action. I was like, I want to watch this. And let me just read what the movie is about. While traveling with top secret documents on a B-17 Flying Fortress, a female World War II pilot encounters an evil presence on board. And remember, we're a spoiler cast, so spoilers from here on. This movie had so much potential. And then
they always have potential. It's always like it's like right there. It's always like right there. If they just did this one thing, it'd be great. And then they just one thing, you know?
And it ruins everything. So in this case, they make this big thing of like, she's got to get this case to this place, right? And she gets on the plane, and she's got orders from like the general, and of course the captain on the plane like is like, who are you? Why is there a dame on my plane?
Why is there a dame?
It's World War II.
Okay. I'm just making sure I'm keeping up.
Why is there's this dame on my plane? Oh, fine, you have this, but we don't have room for you up here, so go down into the second gunnery. So she goes down there, and she spends most of the movie down there, and she's just talking to everyone else through the comms. And you can see her getting scared because she's seen things on the plane. And there's these little, I want to say gremlins, because that's the first word that came to my mind, but it's not a gremlin. They call it something else. But basically, it's this gremlin coming around the plane, tearing things out, and it attacks her, and it's awesome. Like, just the way it's like portrayed is like great. And then she's arguing about what's in this case and who she is, because they find out she's lying about who she is. And in the case is her baby.
Like
her literal baby.
Okay.
And it turns out that it is her baby and one of the other people on the plane's baby. And she is running from her abusive husband.
Does that person on the plane know it's her?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had made this whole elaborate plan.
Are they extremely safe with the case, or does that case get bounced around? Like, there's no way that baby should be surviving in that case.
They're pretty safe until they get attacked by a Japanese fighter plane.
Oh, what? A Japanese what?
Fighter plane.
Oh,
okay. So they start getting attacked.
It's World War II, yeah.
And so they're getting attacked, and her entire little bubble that she's in basically gets knocked off, and she's like hanging from the bottom of the plane, and the case has flown out, and she's got to go get it while hanging on the bottom of the plane. Meanwhile, Gremlin's there, who has been forgotten about for most of this. She literally gets attacked and stabbed through the shoulder. They don't believe this. And then they kind of forget about it until she gets back into the plane with the baby in the case. And she's got to fight the gremlin and get it off the plane. Most of the other people on the plane are now dead, including the captain, who was the main pilot.
Okay.
But her lover, the co-pilot, the rear gunner are the only people left alive.
Nobody else sees, excuse me. Hold on. Rudeness, hold on. So nobody else sees the gremlin? Like the rear gunner doesn't see the gremlin?
They don't believe her. Like the rear gunner saw it, but they thought he was just like getting jittery because they're in a combat zone. It was just like, as soon as she revealed that it was like her baby in there and not some top secret documents, the entire tone of the movie shifted into Mama Bear's got to save her baby. And I was like, I would have preferred her to actually have some secret documents that like they couldn't share, and like the gremlin be the big bad tearing everything apart. But it was like the gremlin was barely there until finally the end, where she's actually like gotta fight it. Like they're on the ground and they're fighting it. So yeah, it's so much potential. The way, like, I loved that she was like, stuck in this gun seat on the bottom of the plane and having just to see everything and only be able to communicate through the comms, and who she was supposed to be and all of this. They built her up to be this really interesting character, and then all interest just left. And by that time, we were like an hour into the movie. There's only like 20 minutes left, and we're like, well, we might as well finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie has taken a turn for the worst.
Okay. All
So if it wasn't for that ending, I would at least give it like a quarter wit. No wits.
No, oh, you're like, no.
Like, watch it if you want to watch it, but like,
No. I saw it pop up in like a suggestion on one of the movie review TikTok things. So, nah, not good for you.
if you want to watch it just for that first part of her being stuck underneath the plane, it's great. I would have really liked it, and they continued with that kind of story. It would have been really great. Involved the gremlin more. It would have been really cool. But as soon as they revealed it was a baby and she turned into Mama Bear, it was just like that suspension of disbelief was just, it was hard.
Now, what was the case like? Was it like cushion with like a cutout for the baby to fit in? Or
I'll
was
put up a picture of it right here. But it's a box. A box with a handle and a strap.
Okay. 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 Oh, no. My.
And this case gets knocked around a lot.
So this baby should have been dead.
Yeah. Or at least screaming.
Okay.
Like, they forget that the baby is actually a character in this thing unless the box is open. When the box is closed, it's like non-existent.
So what's the other one? Go ahead and do the other one.
Okay.
You have time.
So the other one is Promising Young Woman.
Okay.
Nothing in Cassie's life is what it appears to be. She's wickedly smart, tantalizingly cunning, and she's living a secret double life by night. Now, an unexpected encounter is about to give Cassie a chance to right the wrongs from the past. And again, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. But then it just... So basically the premise is this woman, Cassie, she goes to nightclubs and acts drunk so that she can get the nice guy to take her home, who inevitably doesn't take her home, takes her back to his place and tries to have sex with her. And if she's like, no, because she's drunk, he's like, it's fine. And then she like sits up and goes, I said no, and completely sober. And she does this. I hoped she was killing the guys. She does it just to scare them. So she scares them, then goes away. And she does it like every night until she meets this guy that she used to go to college with because she was pre-med until she dropped out. Because, trigger warning, her best friend was raped and killed herself. And she loses it basically after that. But she finds this guy who she really likes, who's now a doctor, and they start dating. And then she finds out the guy who raped her best friend is getting married. and she decides she needs revenge. So she slowly and systematically goes through everyone that she can get a hold of, tries to see if they remember or regret what they did. All but one don't. And she sets them up. She sets this one wife up who's played by Alison Brie. To think she slept with the guy after getting drunk. She sets the dean of the school up to think that her daughter is at a party with all these frat boys. She's not wicked enough to do that, at least, which was good. Or get the other girl raped. And then she finally finds out where this guy's bachelor party is, goes as a stripper, gets him to go upstairs alone with her, ties him to the bed, and attempts to cut him with the scalpel because she's dressed up as a nurse, as a stripper. And they fight, and he kills her.
The promising woman?
Yeah. He kills Cassie.
And he makes it out alive.
He makes it out alive. And his best man comes up at the next morning, and they hide it. They cover up the murder. And she planned for all of this because the one guy that did regret all of it, he was given a package that if she didn't check, in, he would send out. And sorry.
Drink some water. Colonel. Oh, man. Look, the only way to actually eat popcorn is grab some by the handful and then shove it into your face. Well, the rest of you don't eat like that. That's exactly how you eat popcorn. You stick a handful and shove it into your face. I know you all do it. I'm not sure if you don't.
Okay. Sorry. So he sends out, including a recording by her telling everyone where she was going. So the guy ends up getting arrested with the best man. But it was just I kind of wanted a murder film. I would have preferred her being a serial killer and always taking out the nice guy who turned out not to be nice, because that's what they set it up to be. And instead it's this revenge flick about her not being able to move past, or not so much move past, it's the wrong way of saying it, but to pick up her life after a traumatic event that didn't even happen to her.
Mm-hmm. What was shoot. What was Tom Cruise's one wife named? Tom Cruise, Kate Holmes. Okay.
So,
okay. I gotta get there.
Really interesting film. It was okay to watch. For what it was, I would maybe give it a quarter wit. Don't really recommend it, but if you see it, it's not like Shadow in the Cloud where it was complete disappointment at the end.
Have you seen Mrs. Meadows? It's with Kate Holmes. You're probably wanting it to be a little bit more like Mrs. Meadows, in where behind her impeccably mannered and old-fashioned exterior primary school teacher moonlights as a violent vigilante who rids the street of crimes. Essentially, Mrs. Meadows will go and she finds the bad guys, quotation marks, and kills them. And it leads all the way up until like the end where she finds like the last guy that she's killing, where a police officer finally figures out who she is based on her tap shoes that she always wears for whatever freaking reason. Figures out that she's the killer, the vigilante he's been trying to find. And at the very end, it seems like she's about to give up that lifestyle, but I like how they leave it off. It off. That I would give, I would give half a wit on that.
I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I would agree. Definitely, if not a 3/4, somewhere in there.
The thing that brought it down for me was just I can't. It's been a while since I watched it, but there was just a part in there that I was kind of like, I don't like how the whole thing is happening between her and the guy, and her and some of the kids. I didn't like some of that coming up. And I also felt like the guy gave in, like, for the police officer, her romantic interest. I didn't like how quickly he gave in to it's like, he was all like, I'm for justice. And then all of a sudden he's like, but for the lady that I'm interested in, I'm willing to toss that off to the side. And they also like built it up to make it seem like he was also going to be one of the guys that she ended up killing. He definitely came off more creepier in the beginning before I feel like at the beginning of the like his original purpose in it was to be one of her adversaries before becoming a love interest, because he was a lot creepier than what he came out to be towards the end.
Yeah. I remember it having a pretty slow start, and I was pretty confused for the first part of it. So yeah, I guess a half-wit on that one. Shadow in the Clouds, no wit, and Promising Young Woman, barely a 1/4.
All right. Okay, my turn. Hit me with that do. I'm assuming it happened. I will regale you with the story of Moto Dao Shi in all its iteration. So Moto Dao Shi is a Chinese gay romance centered around a high fantasy concept for China. Now, it started off as a novel, and I cannot pronounce this, but I'm going to do really bad. DJ, I will send you the name of the author.
Am I editing this one?
Or, you know what? It's whoever is editing this. Now we both edit, so whoever is editing this, well, you said you were going to add stuff. Who knows? Whoever edits, they're going to put their name up, and it's like, it's me! At this point, whoever's editing this is Mojang Tong Yu, I want to say, is the person that wrote this. They're actually pretty popular. They've written three different gay romance stories, and each one of them has received an adaptation of some sort. Scum Villain System is their first one that has its own anime out right now, or donghua, which is what they call animation in China. The one that I watched, Moto Dao Shi, and the recent one that's out called Heaven's Official Blessings, which is also out. Each one of them has an anime adaptation of some sort. Now, Moto Dao Shi is definitely one of the most popular ones. It has the novel, a manhua, which is like a manga. Go away, Jigsaw. The manga has a live-action costume drama called The Untamed. The anime, or Donghua, which is named as the same as the book, or the English title, I don't even remember what they call the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. Okay. The plot goes as such. I gotta find the plot. The plot goes as such. It revolves around a guy named Wei Wuxian, who he is been summoned. Let me find a good summary. Just cut this out. Let me find a good summary here. Better than what I can do on the spur of the moment. You think after watching and reading all of these, I would have it. I'm also going to put down in our description section this person that does a real good job of just breaking down the entire series. Although it came out, so the first one that came out was the anime in 2018. Untamed came out last year. That's a 50-episode drama.
Yeah.
I watched everything. I've pretty much finished everything in 2 weeks.
Someone got a little obsessed.
I did. This first thing I watched was the anime, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go read the manga. And then I went and read the manga, and the manga's not finished, but I read the manga, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go read the novel to see how they did it. And I was like, well, don't judge me.
You're already judged. It's fine.
So the series follows the adventures of two soulmate cultivators who travel to solve a series of mysteries that link it to a tragic event in the past. That's essentially it. So this follows Wei Wuxian and Long Wanji, who are the two main characters. They are the romance characters. The whole thing takes place, I'm just gonna say it, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's what it is. Wei Wuxian is the guy who comes up and figures out how to... One second.
I don't know what she's doing. But last time she mentioned a cat that she had seen on TikTok. Wow, Kit Kat. Lamp.
Ow.
And this is it. It's adorable. It's got the little bulb that you just push in the little cage, and yeah. So that's the lamp she was talking about last time. And it's so cute.
It is cute. Where was I? So Wei Wuxian, beginning, he is... How do I break this down? DJ, it's just so complicated. It's just so complicated. I'll break it down like this. So Wei Wuxian started the demonic, like the dark arts of this whole series. He dies. And he dies during this whole like evil crusade against him. He becomes this evil spirit that gets summoned again into this guy's body. From there on, he reunites with his boo, Long Wanji. Long Wanji and him have to figure out what the hell's going on with this magical or weird shit happening. Now, depending on which adaptation you watch, if you watch the Untamed, it's like a magical sword that's got evil within it, and they're trying to figure out where the hell this sword is pointing them towards. If you're watching the anime, it's a possessed arm that they're following that's pointing them where they go. So depending on what you're watching, is what's going on. All the way through, they're encountering everything that has to do with something from Wei Wuxian's past. That comes up to be this whole thing. Where you learned it wasn't... Wait, he was killed through like a series of circumstances. The Untamed... The novel's been finished for a while. The Untamed is closer... The Untamed breaks away from the novel in that they don't follow closely to how the power works. The power works as if he's a necromancer. The way that they work with it in the live action is you're kind of just possessed by evil spirits. Yeah. I don't know why they chose it to do that way, other than maybe just because of production. And I can understand that because they have a lot of beautiful sets and a lot of beautiful costumes. I think you would like it in just like the way that they did a lot of the costumes. Plus, if you like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you would definitely like that because there's a lot of flying around and swords going all over the place. Now, I preferred the anime. That was my preference. It's beautiful. They stick closer to the way the powers work in the novel, which is him being closer to the necromancer. And I feel like the music is a little better in the anime too than it is in the live action. And music is actually pretty central to the overall story because they use music to both summon and control spirits. And it's got a lot of action. So on both series, they got a lot of action. So if I had to give a rating, I'm sorry, it wasn't the greatest thing. It's just there's just a lot to go through. Like, it's because it's not like a movie, it's a series, and the way that they progress throughout the series, there's just so much to talk about, and I'm not sure I can do it in this small amount of time that I have. And it would be easier if it was like you had watched it and we could go back and forth and say, well, this is what this did and this is how they handle it there, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I can talk about is how they handled the gay romance in the shows. China actually has a big censorship in their country, in where they cannot show any sort of homophilia, anything homo or homo. Yeah, thank you. Anything that has to do with homosexuality, that's what I'm trying to say. Anything that has to do with homosexuality at all cannot be shown at all. So in the novel, you would often come across them saying cut sleeve, and I didn't know this, but cut sleeve is related to a story in China about a emperor who had a gay lover, and he was, when he woke up one day, he found his lover sleeping on a sleeve, and he didn't want to wake him up, so he cut his sleeve to allow him to sleep and got up that way. And so that's where the term cut sleeve comes from. Really romantic, and that's why they call it cut sleeve. So you hear that term a lot, or you read that term a lot in the novel. I will also put down a link in the description where you can read a translated version of it. Because there's actually no English translation that you can go buy. You actually have to find a place to read it. So I'll put that down in the description for anybody interested. So you hear cut sleeve all the time. So the way that the two series approached it is kind of interesting. You will see for the manhua that they actually go a little bit closer with it. Like they have a kiss in there. They get a little more flirty with it, a lot more than they will in the actual TV series. Untamed, they approach it more as a really close brotherly love sort of thing than they do. But they spend a lot of time staring at each other. Just so much time having some really long stares. There is one scene, and there's one scene where I was like, there's one scene. I don't know if I can find this. I'm gonna try and find it. But there's one scene where it's in a flashback. The book does a lot better with the flashbacks than the series do. Because a lot of the story is told in a flashback on like how Wei Wuxian came to be the creator of the dark arts of the cultivation world. There's like this one scene where he ends up with a kid, and Long Wuji and him end up meeting after a certain amount of time had passed, and the kid's standing there, and Long Wonji is completely confused as to why this kid pops out of nowhere and is just hugging his leg in the middle of this crowd. And when Wei Wuxian pops up, he does this immediate, just like, my boo, look, like the man of my dreams has just walked into my life again. Look, and I'm like, there's no hetero reason for you to be looking at this man that way. There's just no way. So a lot of it, they do what they call queer coding, and this is where I start learning about queer coding is from this show. So a lot of it is through queer coding, in that they never downplay any of their relationship or any of their looks or touches or how they how they talk or interact with each other, and they never downplay or act like it's a joke, like you would see in any kind of American show. Like if you hugged or did anything, later on they would play that as a joke, or a laugh track would come in, or be like, haha, no homo, dude, you know what I mean? They never do that in that series, in Untamed. In the anime, they don't put quite as much emphasis on their relationship just yet, starting out. But they do allow Wang Wenji's character, Wei Wuxian's character, to be a lot more flirty towards him and say a lot more triggering things that leave less to the imagination than the Untamed did, where you really had to kind of feel like you were squinting. So that's the difference on how they're handling the gay romance part of the Moto Dao Shi. So if I could give it a full wit, I would, but seeing as I need to have the other wit to give that the full wit, I'm only allowed to give it a half wit, and so it has a half wit.
Without having seen it and knowing what it represents as a LGBTQ representation that doesn't queer bait, that's what American shows will do, is instead of queer coding, they will queer bait. I would give it at least a quarter wit, because it does sound interesting. So in total, we'll give it a 3/4. Yes.
Overall, it's got amazing action. The story is really great. There's some phenomenal female characters in the Untamed. They spend a lot more time building up the women characters than they do in the there's like one or two female characters that they spend more time building up than they do in the anime and in the novels. So that's awesome. There's a one like bitch slap scene that just makes you go whoa, the entire time. You're like, she deserves it. That's just great. And you know me, I love action, and the reason why this series just hits all of my buttons that I love. It's got fabulous action. It's got fabulous animation. The art style is just gorgeous to look at, and the story is just phenomenal. So I'm in the series. The anime series is not done. The Untamed is finished. That's completely done. But the anime is coming up with its 3rd season soon. So I'm excited to see that coming out. Again, all that will be down in the description below for you to check out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, in summary of the things we've talked about so far, Shadow in the Cloud, no wits. Promising Young Woman, barely a quarter wit. Miss Meadows, what, 3/4?
Yeah.
3/4. And then Dao Shi, 3/4.
3/4. Yeah. Only because you haven't seen it yet. You gotta watch it.
I haven't seen it yet. But like with so much of it, having this one story transformed into so many different mediums, there's obviously something to be said about it. Mm-hmm. I'm taking your word for it as it's a good soft representation of LGBTQ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some things that I would. There are a few things that I would caution against. Like if you were going to the novel to be like, I want to read the smut. There's not really. Like somebody somewhere was like, oh, there's so much smut, and so that's why I went and read the novel. There's not. The whole thing is designed to build the relationship, and by the time they got to the smut scene, which is like you have to reach the end, I'll say you have to reach the end of the novel pretty much to get to that smut scene, and it's a payoff. I'll give it that. It's a payoff, but it's not anything explicit. It's not you're not reading a pornographic novel. That's to be fair. It's not an erotica at all.
Yeah.
So don't go into it expecting that. Its backbone is built on a mystery. It's a high fantasy mystery. That's what it is. And the same fact that its other iterations are, built on a mystery with magic elements, but the anime, it's much more action-packed. The live action is the mystery, more, I would say, Buffy Vampire Slayer kind of thing. Go with that in mind. So yeah.
Okay.
Don't go in there expecting to have like massive like squee moments of gayness at all. That's not what those are. So
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of the time we have. We have about 10 minutes left.
Anything else? So I wanted to talk to you about this. We got 10 minutes, free topic. Have you had a chance to watch any kind of Chinese animation? This is new to me. I'm getting into this just now. Have you had a chance to watch any kind of Chinese animation?
No, I don't think so.
You should. You should. Besides Dao Zu Shi, I'm watching Scum Villain System. Heavenly Blessing is another one that I'm watching. There's some that are coming out on Crunchyroll. There's one that came out a little bit ago called High School something. What was it called? High School. That's not how you spell high school. I forget what it was called. But more and more Chinese animation shows are starting to come out. And I have to say, they are giving anime a run for their money. Like Chinese animation, they're really giving it a run for their money. Not just in like story, but actually in the quality of the way that they look and in the like art style, but in the animation alone. It's mesmerizing. Absolutely mesmerizing. Like I didn't know what I was walking into when I went to watch Moto Dao Shi. I was expecting like something really bad. But the actual fighting took me by surprise. And then I was comparing that against Jujutsu Kaisen or Heroes Academia, which are definitely more action-packed, or even like later Naruto Shippuden episodes where they started to have like actual choreographed fights, like the fight with Pain. You remember the fight with Pain when he comes in to fight with he attacks the village, right? Like those fights, they give like Chinese animation gives those fights a huge run for their money. Huge run for their money.
Okay. I'll have to check it out eventually.
So, yeah. I'm also interested to see what kind of stories are going to come out of there right now. I'm finding ones that are related to this particular author, mostly because those are the ones that are recommended on TikTok, the LGBT side of TikTok. So those are the ones that I'm finding first. But I know that there are others out there. There was one that I came across that was like a 3-minute. Just look at this fight. It is a 3-minute animation of just this guy fighting a peacock. But it was like Dragon Ball Z wish it was this kind of fight peacock. I'm like, what? Description. I'll put it down in the description, or we'll intercut it or whatever. I don't know. Do something. It was good. And there was a Netflix show that came out last year or the year before that was so good too.
Okay.
Whatever.
I mean, eventually I will either stumble across them and watch them myself, or you'll send me a clip and I'll actually like have something to go off of.
Look, if you viewers are like 3 viewers, if you have not had a chance to go and watch some Chinese animation, just check it out. Even just type into YouTube Chinese animation. There are some that are just like jaw-droppingly beautiful that took me by surprise too. And if you're like, oh, I don't want to watch any of the LGBT stuff, like, oh, then why are you here? Have you not seen? Fair. Have you not seen our screen title? Like it clearly says, they're not. It's not obnoxious. They're just really pretty. They're really great. What do you have? Any topic that you want to squeeze in?
No. I will say by the next time we come to a movie review episode, the Schneider cut Justice League should have been out.
I'm not watching it.
I am.
I'm not watching it.
You don't have to. I am. The entire point of me getting HBO Max was so that I could watch Wonder Woman and the Snyder Cut. And that was the other one. Is that one coming out too? When does that one come out? Okay, that one won't have been out. I was gonna say even Godzilla vs. Kong might be out, but that's not until the week after our episode.
Maybe. Or a
I
show.
mean, if you
Or a
wanna,
series.
I don't know if you want to, you have to pay for them. But Greenland, Freaky, and Songbird are the other three movies that I could talk about.
I watched all of the What Could Go Wrong, the play that goes wrong.
Yes, next time. The goes wrong show. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
I watched all of them with the wife. The husband watched the first two episodes.
Yeah.
If you haven't had a chance to see that, you should. Or you can wait until we talk about it next time. Because those are so good.
Full wit.
Full wit. we didn't even have to review before we said it. Full
No.
wit.
Full wit. Hands down. It's
I mean, have you finished all of them?
I think I have like one or two left.
The only one that doesn't get a full wit for me is the last episode.
Okay.
The last episode was just kind of like, eh. It's a holiday episode. It was a Christmas episode. And it was super predictable. Predictable. It had some good gags in there, but overall it was just kind of like, I don't want to spoil it for you because you want to go watch it, but next time I'll spoil it for everybody else.
Go watch it. I really enjoy it. It's the same company that put on my favorite Broadway show, The Show That Goes Wrong, or The Play That Goes Wrong, put on The Goes Wrong Show. And they also did a Peter Pan and A Christmas Carol Goes Wrong. And it's the physical comedy in there is just brilliant.
Oh my god. You're going to love 90 Degrees in Tennessee.
I did. I watched that one.
Just the first, 5 minutes of that play, or that show, is just
Yes.
magnifique.
Yeah.
Magnifique. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So go watch that. We'll talk about it next time. But definitely go watch that because full wit, don't even have to review it, and we know it's a full wit. So that's the end of the show. If you have any movies or shows that you want us to watch and review, let us know down in the comment section down below. And you know what to do.
Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get all the notifications.
And we'll see you next time. Bye. Just eating popcorn this entire time.
I have. I didn't eat breakfast. I just been munching over here.
And with that, have a good day.